to Chapters Create Character. I'm Legend Moore, and this is my mom,
Rakisha. Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us for the next two heroes that we're going to be talking about for our Black History Month special edition, coming from the Book of Black Heroes. So now let's go to our next hero. Queen Nzinga. Queen Nzinga was a 17th century African ruler. She is best remembered for setting her people free from slavery. Anna Nzinga was born around 1583 into the royal family of Ndongo, which ruled the kingdom that is known today as Angola. As a child, she insisted on learning the military and political activities that usually only male children learned. She proved to be better than her brother and other children at using the battle axe, which was the royal symbol of her people. After her father, the king, died, her brother was selected as the new king, but Nzinga was smart and very skilled at making deals. Although her brother treated her poorly, he called on Nzinga to help negotiate with the Portuguese, who regularly invaded the kingdom and took prisoners as slaves. She was able to get the Portuguese to leave her land and instead trade with the kingdom as equals. In 1624, she was chosen as the ruler after her brother passed away. Now in charge of the kingdom, Nzinga worked to improve and protect her territory at all costs. She was a fierce fighter and military leader, and she often led troops in battle. In order to fight off the Portuguese, Nzinga made an alliance with the Dutch. As a woman, her right to the throne was constantly threatened. But Nzinga did not let this get in her way. Although her reign, Queen Nzinga used her shrewd mind and political ability to increase the territory and wealth of the kingdom. Nzinga worked for the freedom and independence of her kingdom from the Portuguese. She was more successful than any other African ruler in resisting Portuguese rule. For this, she is called the Mother of Angola and the protector of her people. She is remembered today as a remarkable African woman who fought for freedom.
She lived unmarried. An unmarried life, just like the queen of the Amazons, and she governed the army like a female warrior, a Jesuit missionary. Speaking of Queen Nzinga, explore more. Look for the Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder to read an imaginative novel about 3 kids who invent a game about ancient Egypt that turns into a real mystery.
Sounds interesting.
I wish I could play it.
We can. I mean, it looks like it's online.
Yeah.
But no, that was a great. I
don't understand how kids would invent a game though. Like a video game or something.
Coding, things like that.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, this was a really good story.
Yeah. Because she protected her kingdom.
Yeah. No, I just like that. I've heard Queen Nzinga referenced on movies like in the past.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was just a name used for the movie, not an actual, queen of Africa. So I think that's very great. So I'm definitely going to do some more research on her and her story. I think that was really cool. All right. Ignatius Sancho. Ignatius Sancho was a British composer and writer. Although he was formerly enslaved, he taught himself to read and eventually spoke out against the slave trade. Charles Ignatius Sancho was born in 1729 on a slave ship crossing the Atlantic Ocean headed to South America. Both of his parents died when he was a baby. As an orphan, he was brought to England where he was enslaved and sold to 3 sisters. Later, he worked for the Duke of Montagu. The Duke was impressed by Ignatius's wit and intelligence and gave him books to encourage his education. Ignatius taught himself to read and write. Though it is unknown how, Ignatius became emancipated and was paid wages for his work. Emancipated means that he was made free, meaning he was no longer a slave. And then he was paid to work. He continued to develop his skills in reading and writing and began speaking out against the slave trade. He also wrote music, poetry, and plays. Ignatius was not only educated, he was well liked by British elite or wealthy, powerful people. After he left the English household, he and his wife opened a grocery store where many politicians, writers, actors, and artists would gather. Ignatius became a successful businessman in his community. He got to know several leading politicians and did not shy away from offering his advice or opinions. He often wrote about politics and the economy, and he used his popularity to spread his message and share his views, especially against enslavement. Ignatius began writing letters to abolitionists, people who wanted to end slavery, boldly criticizing the British for their part in the slave trade. Because he was so well respected, Ignatius remained a prominent figure in his community until his death in 1780.
Alas, is that how you say it? Alas, time leaves the marks through his rough fingers upon all things. Usually I have like some kind of author or something under that. Explore more. You can see scans of a book of Ignatius's letters published in 1784 at publicdomainreview.org.
Perfect. Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard of Ignatius Sancho, so I definitely want to research. Yeah, I definitely want to research about him a little more. Well, team and all the little kiddos watching, that is the 2 heroes that we're going to talk about today. Again, they were Queen Nzinga and Ignatius Sancho. So on the next video, Mr. Legend is going to lead us in the 2 next heroes that we're going to learn about for Black History Month. So thanks again for joining, and we'll see you in the next video.
Wait, before we go, I'm saying, I'm learning a lot from this book about Black heroes because, to be honest, this might sound weird to you guys, but the only 2 Black heroes I've heard of is Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman. But now I'm learning lots more Black heroes.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of stories in history, like in classrooms and things like that, are definitely geared towards like specific Black heroes, and you hear about them every single year over and over again. But with this book, it's definitely opening us up to more Black heroes than we've heard in, the classroom.
Because if you haven't heard of these Black heroes that we've been talking about, then you would, if you are into it, you would love to learn more about it because, you've never heard of them and you want to dive deeper into researching.
Absolutely. So again, that's what we're encouraging, and that's why we're doing this, to definitely open up the dialogue and to encourage you guys to do the same for yourselves. But we will definitely check you out in the next one, and thanks again for joining us on Chapters Create Characters. Bye.
Bye.